California's new tax, a monthly subscription to use the state roads. What are you talking about? Well, gas tax. Remember how California is pushing everybody to get electric cars? Well, since everybody's getting electric cars, all that tax from the gas cars ain't there. So, got to do something new. Monthly subscription to use state roads. Let's get into it. Here we go. We're going to read first from the Washington Examiner, and we're going to head over to California could drop gas tax for a different model. Have you ever known a solid Democrat to drop a tax? Oh, I mean, we've already got revenue from over here. We don't need this tax revenue. So yeah, we're going to cancel that one. Has that ever in the history happened? No, it doesn't, because who doesn't want a good tax to just get them going, right? California's latest scam to take money from its residents is essentially a subscription service that bills you every month for how often you drive a car. California Democrats, the personification of incompetence, part of the reason I'm reading this article, that's funny, have a two-pronged problem. State wants to pay for road maintenance through an ever-increasing gas tax at the same time as it tries to force people to buy electric vehicles. Having finally realized the contradiction there, California is now planning to release the findings of a new pilot program which charges drivers a tax per mile they drive. To spoil the conclusion of this saga for you, California almost certainly recommend adopting this program statewide because taxing Californians into the dirt is what the state does best. And then California successfully puts this in operation, meaning they just ask all of their constituents to just take it. Hey, here's another tax. You guys enjoy. Greatest thing ever. I mean, this time, what could be better than another tax? Another tax. Other states will follow suit. Washington State, it'll be the first, right? I drove out to Snoqualmie Falls the other day because there's just so much water coming down with all the flooding we've had. And all of a sudden, my girlfriend started looking around, and she's not a big Tesla fan. And there was so many Teslas going out to the falls because it's a bunch of tech bros who love Teslas, and they just want to see what's going on at the falls. Teslas everywhere, parking lot absolutely loaded. I'm sure they'd be fine with yet another tax. Hey, I'm going to tax you. Program is constructed as essentially a subscription service that requires you to self-report your usage. That's going to go over well. Self-report. Who's going to accurately? Oh, yeah, I drove 4,000 miles last week. Californians have to report their mileage and be billed per mile every month. So they go on to talk about if you drive every day, be just over $11 if the road tax is 3 cents. That's $11 per week. If you live in Hanford and you're going to commute to Fresno. The problem with something like this is that housing is so expensive in the big cities, in any of the big West Coast, Best Coast states, right? And I say that facetiously. I do not mean Best Coast. Big cities on the West Coast have some of the highest housing costs. So it forces those on the lower economic rungs to drive further to work. That's how you get a 2-hour commute each way in California. Seattle, not much better. Seattle we are rapidly approaching, worst traffic in the United States because we have nowhere to put our freeway system. We're so boxed in, such bad planning. That's Democrat run, right? Been that way for 40 years. Result is a tax primarily on rural Californians who must commute further to work, school, grocery stores, pharmacies, doctor's offices, or relatives' houses. These are the same rural communities being destroyed by California's water regulations and EV mandates with insufficient EV infrastructure. I need everybody to drive an electric car. Yet, hey, we noticed that it's going to be really warm this weekend, so a lot of you are going to be using air conditioners. So if you could not charge your EV card and you just hunker down at home with the windows closed, so you don't allow that heat in. Right, that was literally a podcast, a couple of summers ago? Hey, we're going to end our reliance upon fossil fuels. But this weekend's going to be really hot. Could you guys not run your ACs? because it's going to overload the grid, and then you can't charge your cars, or don't charge your cars so you can run take your pick, because you can't do both. Moreover, it's entirely unnecessary. California does not need to bill drivers monthly to use the state's roads, and it doesn't need the highest gas tax in the nation either. Oh, it does. You got to pay for all those criminal illegals. You got to pay for all that just batshit nonsense, right? California jacked up the gas tax in 2017, arguing that the money was needed to maintain the state's roads. Shouldn't they have been covered? They're covered with the most basic of your tax structure. That's the way it should be. Not in California. We're losing the gas tax. Okay, so California had a budget, $179.5 billion. But you got the illegal immigrants and fraudulent or failing homelessness programs, more billions of dollars. So California's budget has since ballooned to $325 billion. $325 billion just to run California. And they need to jack up your taxes more just to cover the roads? I mean, at some point in time, when does everybody just say, yep, can't do it, gone? Moving somewhere else. At what point does this absolutely hit meltdown? You got to be looking at it like now, right? See at the top there, unbiased, straight facts. And then it goes right into California could drop the gas tax for a different model. When has California ever dropped any kind of tax on anything? I know you've dropped taxes on people, but you haven't eliminated any taxes, because once these taxes are in place, we need them. By eliminating those taxes, it would inhibit our ability to service the poor and the needy, who already have 14 different programs helping them. But don't say that out loud. California is considering replacing the high motor fuel tax, which sits at 68.1 cents per gallon. Nation's highest. I think Washington State has the third highest. I think, does Illinois have number 2? Maybe Pennsylvania or something like that, number 2, with a mileage-based fee under the California Road Charge Program. Now, this has been being tested out. The test program was completed in January of 2025, but the results will not be available until December of 2026. So they need 2 years to work out, what does this look like? So they're going to take all that data and figure it out. How can we tax the populace even more? What is the best way to just tax these people? And we'll tell them with a smile that they're going to enjoy this. Enjoy your new taxes, because you're getting some. Drivers would pay based on miles driven, with options like 2 cents per mile, $16.66 a month for 10,000 miles annually, and a 26 mile per hour car, or 4 cents per mile. Program aims to fund road maintenance equitably among gas-powered and EV drivers. So everybody pays. Tax after tax after tax, right? I mean, every single time you turn around, there's some kind of just absolute ridiculous tax. Here in my home state of Washington, we're not much better off. The carbon cap and trade program that we have, that just spikes the cost of gasoline to the moon, on top of some of the highest state and federal gas taxes, on top of, we just don't have much of a supply of gas here. We got this little thing called the Olympic pipeline, and it goes down pretty often for maintenance, and then we don't have a lot of gas. But California, you guys are sitting on a lot of gasoline. You could be pumping it out of the earth, but because you're oh so green and your leadership has decided, we're eliminating the horrific, terrible gas-powered cars, because we want to be so clean, and we want to virtue signal that we're great people, and we're all about the environment. So you restrict your own refineries from like 40 something down to 12. Soon to be 11. So you basically have no ability to refine your own special blend of herb seasoning gasoline that you require All self-imposed, just absolute nonsense. So you don't have enough gas to run everything because you don't have enough refineries, and the refineries you do have, you've basically pushed out with terrible, terrible policies, fines, decision-making. You basically told Big Oil, hey, go take a hike, you dirty, dirty bastards. So now you don't have enough gas. You don't have enough refinery capability, state of California. So you bring it on, the slow boat from literally China, right? Except it's not China. It's the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. It's Ecuador. It's Saudi Arabia on the slow boat from whatever country I just mentioned that billows, absolutely billows smog into the environment. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We're going to be off of gas products in maybe as short as 10 years. I mean, isn't that what Biden told us? That's what Biden said. Yeah, after 10 years, I mean, we're going to be dependent for at least 10 more years, but then after that, it's all going to be electric vehicles. It's so preposterous. Under the California Road Charge Program, the state would instead charge drivers based on how many miles they drove per month. Proposed equation would factor in the monthly miles driven, vehicle's fuel efficiency, and give 3 options for the percentage the state would charge. The cost to maintain this program is going to be more than the revenue generated. Guaranteed. This is another just absolute program where mentally challenged come, it should work. It should be great. I don't know, Californians, I don't know how you deal with this stuff. Do you just take it and all right, it's sunny today, so we're going to go with that. I guess you guys got sun, right? Here in Washington State, it's gloom and doom. We got flooding going on right now. That's what happens when you have a atmospheric river come through a couple of times in 10-day period, right? All the rivers just literally, like a couple of hours ago, there was an evacuation order because a levee on the Green River. Yep, Green River killer. That's where he operated. The Green River, a levee on the Green River is about to go, when the levee breaks. Yeah, you'll have no place to go. That's going to happen in Renton. It's supposed to affect 45,000 people. Will it? Who knows, right? Got a lot of rain here, though, is the bottom line. Don't have a lot of sunshine. At least in California, you've got some sunshine. Under the lowest option of 2 cents per mile, a 26 mile per gallon car that drives 10,000 per year would pay $16.66 per month. 4 cents, 33 per month. But, none of these programs ever seem like they're that much, but you start loading them up. It's like subscription services to basic cable, Netflix, Paramount Plus, Apple. The list just keeps going. YouTube TV, YouTube Premium, whatever it is, just the list. You got to have Fox 1 to watch football. Right? I mean, otherwise, I can't find the game. They all sound like they're reasonably priced. Well, Netflix is only $8 a month. How about Amazon Prime? You pay for Amazon Prime. You used to get all those movies with no commercials, but now you got to pay like $2.99 a month to have Amazon Prime without commercials in your movies. And you're like, what? I used to have no commercials. Now you guys bait and switched me. I'm in. Now I'm going to pay the $2.99. I refuse. I just refuse. And then I watch fewer movies on Amazon Prime. But then I got to have Amazon Prime because I need to have my stuff to my front porch stat, right? I need to have it there stat. While this program would replace the lion's share of the motor fuel tax charge at the pump, local and federal taxes would still be tacked on. It's getting taxed 10 ways from Sunday. 10 ways from Sunday. Let's watch this video.
We begin tonight with new details on a new way to pay for California roads. With revenue from the gas tax dwindling, Californians could be charged for every mile they drive. Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
Perfect.
Car-Lo Chiquetto. Caltrans is now studying a per-mile road charge apply to all drivers across the state to help fund highway maintenance that's now funded through the excise tax on fuel, and why the state says this new mileage tax would actually replace California's gas tax. Not everyone's convinced.
CBS 8's Richard Allen has more on the pilot program that has just wrapped up.
Well, that's right. Currently, about 80% of California's road and highway repairs are funded through the state's 59-cent a gallon gas tax, the highest in the nation. But with more drivers now switching to electric vehicles, the state is getting less and less funding for those repairs, now leading to this possible mileage tax for all drivers. And not surprisingly, not all drivers are on board.
No, not for it. Sorry, I'm a hard no on everything. I gotta save my money right.
Yeah, 100% agree. Hard no on everything. That's where I'm at now. I don't even live in California, but Washington State is just like California light. We are California 2.0. We're the redheaded stepchild of California, right? We don't have the beautiful sun. We don't have, the blonde girls that are all tan. We got a different version, right? That's not as good. Yeah, we got tree huggers, right? Hairy armpits, the opposite, right? And they're all pasty because, clouds 10 months out of the year. So I'm right there with you.
I can.
San Diegan Gail Hoffalina wants to put the brakes on any possible per-mile road charge for drivers, an idea the state's now exploring, as explained in this video released by Caltrans.
What's this?
It's an innovative way to collect funding for roads and highways based on how many miles you drive instead of how many gallons of gas you buy. Because as we move toward a zero-emission future, the gas tax...
As we move to a zero-emission future, when's that going to be? When is that going to be? We're going to be dependent upon big oil for so long. I mean, we don't have a substitute for it, right? We don't have something else to switch into. None of these things provides enough power for what we need to do. And we use gas for everything. It's in everything. But, let's make a cute little video here, and then we'll talk about zero emissions, because we're virtue signaling environmentalists, right? Because we don't believe in big oil. Oh, we're all green, except for that pesky issue with, the batteries and then all the rubber on the road. But don't worry about that. Zero emissions. We're going for that. Let's get back to the cute cartoon.
won't last forever.
Caltrans just completed a pilot program to test out a road charge system, including a flat per-mile fee of 2.8 cents a mile, as well as an individualized fee based on a vehicle's fuel economy. The pilot also tested different ways of reporting mileage, including odometer readings or a special plug-in device.
The purchasing.
Oh, sign me up for a plug-in device on my own vehicle, in my own car. I want everybody to know not only how far I've driven, but where I've driven, what I drove to. Right? I mean, are you kidding? A plug-in device. Maybe that plug-in device could turn my car off because, it's electric. Whatever, right?
Power of the fuel tax, which is the main way that we finance transportation infrastructure, has been steadily declining.
But not everyone's giving this potential new charge the green light.
Mileage tax in California is a money grab. Let's just be very clear.
San Diego Assemblymember Carl DeMaio led the charge against a proposed local mileage fee a few years back and says he's just as opposed to this one, which he says could cost the average Californian $900 to $1,200 per year.
Unfortunately, a lot of working families, poorer families, have a longer commute, so they'll actually pay a higher mileage tax. It's very regressive. It's unfair.
DeMaio also says he's skeptical this mileage tax would replace the fuel tax, as the state has indicated.
That's nonsense. These people will never give up a tax. They're just
100%. 100%. That is nonsense. These people will never give up a tax. Yeah. But when it comes up on your referendum or whatever it is you got going on in California, go ahead and vote. Keep voting blue. That's going to work out for you at some point, right?
going to add an additional one on.
And it would be up to the state legislature to decide whether this road charge would replace the fuel tax. Also, the results of Caltrans' pilot program should be released later this year.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Can't wait. I mean, that's some exciting stuff, right? Yeah, just every single time we turn around a new tax. And I think California they're leaders in this endeavor to absolutely tax the heck out of their constituents. You know, it's becoming more and more clear that Gavin Newsom will be he'll be the front runner for the Democratic Party in 2028 presidential elections. I mean, maybe Kamala Harris runs again, but she's 0 for 2, right? And I don't think she stands a chance in hell. She spent $1.5 billion in that last campaign and got thumped. Got absolutely smoked. Gavin Newsom, he's going to stand a little bit better of a chance. But the thing is he's got so much of this stuff in California that just says California makes life unaffordable for its constituents. California has the highest housing, highest gas prices, highest poverty levels, highest inflation, all of the bad categories that you don't want. Greatest number of people leaving. It's got all of those stats. So at the end of the day, can Democrats somehow spin that? Like the spin on this bad boy here. Well, we've got both a gas tax and we've got a electric vehicle tax. How in the world are you going to spin all that nonsense to the point where you can overcome let's say J.D. Vance isn't the Republican candidate. Let's say that Greg Abbott is. Greg Abbott is actually reducing taxes because he's got a $27 billion surplus, not a deficit like all of these big Democrat-run states have. He's got a surplus because he has encouraged business. He's kept costs low, and people want to live there. How are you going to be able to outspin that? That's where I'm like, and I'm just throwing out things. I'm pretty sure J.D. Vance, if he can, stay alive, given our past history with Democrats taking out Republicans, trying to, I think he's our guy. That's the way it looks to me. But how are you going to overcome all of the buyer objections of Gavin Newsom? And this would be just one more, because this is going to be spendy for people. And it's just going to be an absolute debacle, just like the 911 call service in California, $450 million. And now they're scrapping it because the technology doesn't work. Like, okay, maybe you should have done a Caltrans study on the 911 calls, right? Any which way, it's going to be interesting. The 2028 elections are going to be interesting. And you're just watching the ever-evolving demise of quality of life in California and Oregon and Washington State. We are watching that in real time. And it's because of nonsense like this, because they can't quite work out how to do something so basic as maintaining their roads. Well, shouldn't that be like stop signs, street lights, and roads? Pretty important. Sidewalks right up there. Critical infrastructure. Critical infrastructure to have the absolute basics in society. But they can't, really work that out with absolutely abusing their constituents. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, because I'll be covering this one. We got the whole California gas crisis. It's a-going. It's a-happening. So make sure to hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks again for joining. Bye for now.